Hello and welcome to a video about two cars. These are very similar cars that real world people are probably looking at buying. And so we thought we'd compare them for you at one time in one video. Very convenient. I think it's very helpful. If you're watching this channel, chances are that you are a young man between the ages of 20 and 30. And I know this because I can go into our YouTube data and that's exactly what it tells me. And now, because you're a young male between the ages of 20 and 30, you become the car guy in your family and in your circles. Remember when you were growing up and everyone asked you to install their printers? It's exactly like that. And so your mom and your aunt and your uncle and your cousins and your sister and your sister's husband all ask you for car advice. And I can almost guarantee you that they're going to be asking you about these two cars. It's the Hyundai Venue and the Volkswagen T-Cross. The T-Cross has attracted a lot of attention and it's made a lot of sales in South Africa. And Hyundai have arrived to try and spoil that party. I am in the new Hyundai Venue, brand new car on the market. Hyundai made quite a big fuss of it arriving, mostly because it arrived after the T-Cross and they were hoping that people would not buy the T-Cross and wait a little bit and buy this. And I think if you did wait a little bit, you would have been quite pleased with yourself. The T-Cross we have in this video today is spec'd to 434,000 Rand. That is about 100,000 Rand more than this Venue. 100,000 Rand. That's a big difference. It's a lot of holidays, that's a lot of school fees, that's a lot of groceries, that's a lot of concert tickets for your daughter who wants to go see Justin Bieber for the 9th time. It's a lot of money. 100,000 Rand is a lot of money. So what is the difference between these two cars? How does Volkswagen justify 100,000 Rand price difference between two cars which look virtually identical? Well, that's what I'm here to do. That's my job. That's what I do for a living. I tell you these things. I answer these questions.
Let's begin this adventure with a chat about the interiors. First up, the T-Cross.
As I mentioned when I was driving this car, it is 100,000 Rand more than the Venue we have here today. I feel like I've said that a lot, but it starts to become apparent why it costs more when you get into the interior of the T-Cross. Now, my colleague Dave has very kindly sent me the prices of the optional extras in this car. So let's go back a step. Right off the bat, this car is 35,000 Rand more than the Venue base price. But this particular unit has keyless entry, 5 grand, a Beat sound system, 9,000, the design package in energetic orange, which makes it look like I'm inside a Rocker Mamas. Only South Africans will get that joke. Park package, so it parks itself, that's 9 grand. The infotainment package, which upgrades you to this Discover Pro, which has nav, that will cost you 23,000 Rand. And that means that the total price on this particular T-Cross is 434,500 Rand. That's quite a lot. And I'm not sure if it feels justified. You're not probably going to use the park itself thing. Yeah, the nav will help, but Google Maps is better because it's got live traffic. And overall, it's just a bit cheap. It looks good. The doors look crap in particular, actually. In fact, the most expensive looking and feeling part of this entire interior is the handbrake.
Over into the Venue, and I must be honest, I really like the look of this car. I wasn't expecting to. It's a bit wider than the T-Cross and it does feel like it has a touch more shoulder room and general space in the front of the cabin. There's a little bit more legroom for rear passengers and the rear bench is noticeably wider than the T-Cross. We'll get to the boot space in a little bit, but first, time for me to sit in the front seat and point at things.
If I pump the music in here, is it a party venue? This is the second variant from the top of the pile when it comes to Venues. It's called the Fluid. The top one is called the Glide. In the Fluid, you don't get automatic climate control, for instance. You have to upgrade to the Glide for that, but you do get Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Also in the Fluid, you have to actually use the key to start your car, which is quite a weird thing these days. But what I'm quite impressed with is that it has cruise control. That's quite cool. That's a nifty feature. Steering wheel looks quite good. I like the contrast stitching on the leather here. Feels expensive, makes you feel like you've, got some value for your money. But look at this. This is very consumery of me. You can only adjust for height. You can't adjust for reach, which you can do in the T-Cross. And I must admit, it does help you find a more comfortable driving position. So keep that in mind when you are looking at your Venue. In terms of seat comfort, pretty much a dead heat between the two of them, if I'm honest. But overall, it's a bit plain in here. It's a bit bland. I think if you're looking for something funky and edgy, then the T-Cross ticks a few more boxes, especially in Rocco Mama's orange. But if you're not too bothered by that sort of thing, then I think the Hyundai's interior, if you look closely, feels a little bit better quality than the T-Cross. I mean, for instance, listen to this. That's a much higher quality plastic scratching sound. You can just feel it. So this Hyundai Venue, what's it like to drive? Well, if you've driven a car before, it's very similar. It has an automatic gearbox and an engine which propels it forward in a smooth manner. It's a 1 litre engine, same size as the one in the T-Cross, so not much between them on that. And it's fine, it's totally fine. And if you are a young man watching this video, chances are that you want a GTI. You don't want a Venue, and Hyundai knows that. Remind yourself, your aunt wants a Venue, not you. And so the fact that it doesn't have that much power and it only does 0 to 100 in 11.7 seconds means absolutely nothing. It's totally fine. Nothing wrong with it at all. I don't know if I'm just getting old and maybe like a bit broody, but this car appeals to me for some reason. I quite like it. I don't know if it's the high driving position, which is quite sought after, but it feels really solid. This feels like the sort of car that you could procreate with. Not procreate in, that's a different activity. But it feels like you could raise kids with this car. I don't know why I feel like that. God, really worrying myself here. I think what we need to do is discuss the name of this car. Why is it called the Venue? How did they arrive at that name? There's so many puns. I mean, if you get one from Avis, is that then Venue higher? I've been waiting to make that joke for like a week. If this car takes you to where you're going to get married, is it then a wedding venue? Oh, that was good. I just made that up now.
With the inevitable pun segment of this video behind us, let's get back to me telling you useful things about these two cars.
I've said this before a few times, but the reason you're probably interested in an SUV over, say, a hatchback or a sedan is because you think they have more load space, boot area. Well, let me dispel that notion for you, because that is a pretty tiny boot, but it's specific to this unit that we have here today because it's been spec'd with the Beats sound system, or as we like to call it at the office, the Boots sound system. It has a subwoofer in there. If that wasn't there, you'd be able to drop this boot floor by a hell of a lot, maybe as much as 25 centimeters, and that would, like, I don't know, I'm not a mathematician, could quadruple the volume or something. So on paper, VW says their boot is larger, but I mean, just standing here and looking with my eyes, that is clearly a larger boot. So don't choose a big sound system if you want more boot area in your T-Cross. But where the T-Cross does have one up on the Venue, come back with me over to the T-Cross, is in terms of rear seat flexibility. Man, I'm doing so good at this consumer journalism today. So the T-Cross's seats fold in a 60-40 split. And what this means is that if you need to carry a passenger in the back, you still can, and you can get a massive load area for, I don't know, your kayak or something. When you come over to the Venue and you remove the parcel shelf, which I haven't practiced yet, you will notice that the Venue's rear seat is a solid bench. And this is actually a bit crappy because once you push that down, There's literally nowhere to carry any more humans. So you get this massive load space, which is definitely bigger than the T-Cross, but it's not as practical really, especially if you need to carry an extra person. So there we go. That's some good insight, I think. I think I've knocked it out the park. We're good here.
If you would like a folding rear seat in your Venue, simply upgrade to the top spec Glide model. This is a comparison video, so let's fire up the T-Cross. I've driven this car many times, and we have 2 detailed reviews on the T-Cross on our YouTube channel, the links to which you'll find in the description below.
But let me take you through a few of the basics. Same size engine as the Hyundai 1 litre turbocharged petrol. It doesn't feel as rough as the Hyundai. It feels a bit smoother actually. It feels like it develops its power in a bit more of a refined way. Car journalists love the word refined. It's a good word. Also love the word premium. That's a good word. Having driven both cars back to back, I would say that this T-Cross does feel a bit better insulated from road and wind noise. It's very quiet in this cabin. Very nice. This is a car that you'd be happy to drive every day. Can almost guarantee it. And if you drove the 2 cars back to back, maybe you'd be able to tell the difference. And I think the T-Cross would come out on top in terms of ride quality. But, you know, if you drive them a day after each other, you probably won't notice the difference. That's my guess. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the T-Cross. I do like this car. I mean, if someone gave me one, I'd be stoked. I'd be like, yeah, I've got a T-Cross now. Drive that every day. It's comfy. It's nice, convenient, good auto box, you know? Very nice car to run around town in. It's quite small, so it's easy to park. Decent amount of space. The rear seat practicality is pretty good. Yeah, it's nice. But with my consumer journalist hat on, I don't know if I can recommend this car because first of all, it's very expensive compared to the competition. Second of all, the warranty's crap. 3 years versus 7 years, well 5 plus 2 for the Hyundai. I mean, that is a mega difference. So I think my advice would be, if you are looking to flip your car to get in and get out in about 3 years, I'd say the T-Cross makes more sense. But if you are looking to keep your car for a long time, then after 3 years, you're completely on your own with the T-Cross. Whereas with the Hyundai, you got a lot of backup for years to come. So I think that would be the deciding factor for me if I was buying in this market. Okay, there we go. I have done my job.
I think it's a good idea to point out that the Volkswagen T-Cross has just won the compact family car segment in our Cars.co.za Consumer Awards powered by Westbank. According to our judges, and according to those who filled in our consumer satisfaction survey, the T-Cross certainly makes a good purchase. However, the Venue was not part of the Consumer Awards as it arrived in South Africa after the cutoff date for judging. And so it's incredibly difficult to pick a winner for this video. However, given the price difference and the warranty, the Venue really does make a good case for being value for money. Thanks for watching. Did you know that we also sell really awesome car-themed merchandise? Check out our range of custom t-shirts and prints at our online store now. Simply click on the square box on your screen and we'll take you there, or the link is in the description below. Thanks for watching.